All right, front-end friends, buckle up, because today we're catapulting ourselves into the future.
The future.
Yeah, 2025 to be precise.
Oh, wow.
We're doing a deep dive into the skills that our amazing mid-level and senior front-end devs are going to need to, well, basically dominate the development landscape.
I like it. Dominate. So, what kind of seismic shifts are we talking about? New frameworks.
You bet. We've got frameworks popping up faster than you can say JavaScript. AI is becoming like the secret weapon in our arsenal.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And even VR and AR are breaking free from the gaming world and landing right in our laps.
It's mind-blowing how fast things are
It
changing.
really is. And the thing is, it's not just about learning the shiny new toys.
Right.
It's about like understanding how the whole front-end game is changing. So consider this your cheat sheet for staying ahead of the curve.
I like that. Cheat sheet for the future. Let's start with the frameworks. React, Angular, Vue.js, the big three are still ruling the roost, right?
They are. But what's on the horizon? What should we be keeping an eye on?
You're right. The big three are holding strong, but there's a new wave coming in. Think Svelte, Solid, Astro, Quick.
Ooh, those are some interesting names.
They're bringing some serious heat, promising stuff like better performance, smaller bundles, and APIs that are even more developer-friendly. Imagine building an app that's lightning fast because the framework is doing the heavy lifting up front.
That's the dream.
It is.
But how do we choose? It feels like there's a new framework every week.
You've hit the nail on the head. It's not about chasing the latest fad.
Yeah.
It's about the underlying principles. Take Svelte, for example. It compiles components at build time, which is a huge change from the usual way of doing things at runtime. You trade a bit of flexibility for a massive performance boost.
So for senior devs, knowing why a framework makes certain choices can be the key to choosing the right one.
Exactly. Now, let's talk no-code, low-code. Is it on the radar for experienced developers like our listeners?
Is it something we should be paying attention to?
Absolutely. It's changing the game. Think visually building apps, drag and drop, templates, very little actual coding.
Interesting.
It's empowering people with less coding experience to build solutions. We're seeing platforms like Bubble for building full-fledged apps, Webflow for websites, and Airtable, which lets you build logic into your databases.
It sounds amazing for rapid prototyping or working with teams who aren't super technical.
Right. It's all about speed and collaboration.
But does it devalue our hard-earned coding skills?
That's a valid concern, but I think it's more of an opportunity.
Okay.
Understanding how these tools work can make us even more efficient. Imagine spinning up a prototype super fast to test an idea, or letting the marketing team build landing pages without constantly needing a developer.
So rather than fearing them, we should see them as tools that can boost our skills.
Exactly. It's all about adapting and evolving.
All right, let's move on to something that's definitely going to change how we build front ends. AI. It's not just a buzzword anymore, is it?
Not at all.
It feels like AI can do it all, from personalizing the user experience to making our sites lightning fast.
It can, and it will.
But a lot of front-end devs, we don't have a data science background. How do we even start?
That's where understanding the core ideas and the available tools comes in. We're seeing AI tailoring content in real time, building smarter chatbots,
Oh, wow.
even predicting user behavior to optimize loading times. Libraries like TensorFlow.js and PyTorch are making AI way more accessible. You don't need to be a data scientist to experiment.
So our mid-level and senior devs should be getting cozy with these AI libraries and figuring out how to use them in their work.
Exactly. It's like adding a whole new dimension to their skill set.
Before we go too deep on AI, let's talk about PWAs, progressive web apps.
Oh, yeah.
They've been around, but they seem to be gaining real momentum. Why now?
They offer the best of both worlds, web accessibility and the performance of a native app. Think offline functionality, instant loading, push notifications.
Wow, all the things people love about native apps, but in the browser.
Exactly. Imagine building an app that feels as good as a native app, but without needing users to download it from an app store.
Sounds like a game changer, especially for reaching a wider audience.
Absolutely.
Are there any PWAs out there that are doing this really well?
Oh, tons. Companies like Twitter, Starbucks, Pinterest.
Huh?
They've all gone the PWA route and are seeing great results. More engagement, lower bounce rates, even more conversions.
So PWAs aren't just a nice to have anymore.
Definitely not. They're becoming a core skill for any front-end developer who wants to stay ahead of the curve.
It sounds like knowing how to build PWAs is essential.
Yes.
Not just technically, but also understanding how they affect the user experience.
It's a whole new way of thinking about design and interactions.
We've covered a lot of ground already, but there's more to explore. We'll be back in the next part of this deep dive to tackle even more groundbreaking stuff. But before you all run off, we have a small request.
We'd love for you to head over to the Pragmatic Reviews YouTube channel and hit that subscribe button.
Yeah, join our awesome community.
We love having you there.
And while you're there, smash that like button and drop a comment telling us which front-end trends have caught your eye.
We really do love hearing from you.
Now, before we go, let's leave you with something to think about. PWAs blur the lines between web and native. How do you see that evolving? What will the ultimate web and app experience look like? Let us know. We're curious to hear your thoughts.
We are. Welcome back, everyone. Ready to go even deeper into the future of front-end.
Absolutely. We've talked frameworks, no code, even a bit of AI. What's next?
Let's explore something that's been a core part of web development forever. Content management systems, or CMS.
Ah, good old CMS. I feel like we can't live with them, can't live without them.
It's funny how they've evolved. You've got the old guard like WordPress still going strong, but there's this new kid on the block making a lot of noise. Headless CMS.
Headless CMS.
Yeah.
I've heard the term, but I'm not sure I fully get it. What does it mean for us front-end folks?
It's more than just a buzzword. Think about a traditional CMS like WordPress. You have your content and how it looks all mixed together, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Headless CMS flips that. It's all about managing content and delivering it through APIs. You, the front-end developer, get to decide exactly how that content looks and feels.
So it's like separating the content from the presentation?
Exactly. It's all about flexibility. You could use the same content for your website, your app, even a digital kiosk in a store.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Any specific headless CMS platforms you'd recommend checking out?
There are a few big ones. Strappy is open source, super customizable. Then you've got Contentful, known for its great APIs. And there's Sanity, which is all about structured content and working together as a team.
Sounds like we need to do some headless CMS exploring. But with all this decoupling, how does it change our roles as front-end developers?
Good question. As front ends become more separated from the back end, our job of creating awesome user experiences becomes even more important. We're not just taking data from a template anymore. We're shaping how that data is presented and how users interact with it.
So we're not just builders, we're architects.
Exactly. What skills do we need to level up to thrive in this new world?
I'm all ears.
API interactions become super important. Knowing how to get data from APIs, handling different formats, working with asynchronous stuff.
Right.
You'll also need to know how to manipulate and transform that raw data into something meaningful for your users.
Sounds like we need to master JavaScript and get really good with tools like GraphQL for efficient API querying.
You got it. And of course, a deep understanding of front-end frameworks is essential for managing all that data.
It all comes back to that idea of continuous learning, doesn't it? We have to constantly be adapting and expanding our skill set.
Absolutely. And that's why we're here sharing all these insights with you.
Speaking of staying ahead, there's another trend that's been making waves: Web3 and blockchain.
Ah, yes, the decentralized future.
To be honest, Web3 has always felt a bit mysterious to me. I get the high-level concepts, but how does it actually impact front-end development?
Great question. It's early days for Web3, but we're already seeing exciting applications. Think decentralized apps or DAT apps built on blockchains like Ethereum and Solana.
So we're talking about building apps that run on a distributed network, not on centralized servers. That's a big change.
It is. It opens up so many possibilities. User authentication, data management. In Web3, users control their own data and identities, and we need to build interfaces that respect that. We're talking about integrating with digital wallets, working with blockchain APIs, understanding smart contracts.
It sounds like a whole new way of thinking about data and security.
It is, and it's where things get challenging. Front-end devs venturing into Web3 need to learn about blockchain, smart contract languages like Solidity and Rust, and frameworks like Truffle and Hardhat for building those dApps.
It's a steep learning curve, but also a huge opportunity for innovation.
Definitely. And it's not just about dApps. We're seeing Web3 concepts being used in traditional web experiences too, integrating blockchain features into existing apps, using NFTs for digital ownership, creating tokenized reward systems. It's all happening.
So even without building full-blown dApps, we can still use Web3 to create cool user experiences.
Exactly. Keep an open mind, explore, and experiment. Who knows, you might build the next killer Web3 app.
Now that's inspiring. We've covered so much. CMS, Web3. But before we wrap up this part, there's one more trend we need to talk about. One that's all about making our front ends more scalable and manageable. Micro front ends.
Micro front ends. It's a hot topic, especially as apps get more complex and teams get bigger.
What are they exactly and why should we care?
Think of them like microservices for the front end. Instead of one giant front end, you break it into smaller, independent pieces, each responsible for a specific feature.
So separate modules that can be developed and deployed independently.
Exactly. It makes things so much easier. Teams can work on different parts without stepping on each other's toes, the code base is more manageable, and you can update one part without breaking the whole thing.
Sounds great for big companies with lots of developers.
hmm
What about smaller projects? Is it relevant for us?
While microfrontends shine in large-scale apps, the ideas behind them, modularity, separation of concerns, those are important for any project. Even if you're not building a massive e-commerce platform, thinking about breaking down your front end into smaller, reusable components can make your life so much easier.
So it's about adopting a mindset of building things in a flexible, adaptable way.
Exactly. And that's where your experience as mid-level and senior devs comes in. You can make smart architectural decisions that set your projects up for success.
This has been an eye-opening conversation. We've covered so much ground, from CMS to Web3 and microfrontends. But before we move to our final part, a quick favor.
Yes, please head over to the Pragmatic Reviews YouTube channel and hit that subscribe button. Join our fantastic community.
And don't forget to like the video and leave a comment telling us what trends excite you the most. We love hearing from you. Now, for a question to ponder as we move to our final part, with all these advancements blurring the lines between front-end and back-end, what does the future hold for front-end devs? Do you see a world where those roles completely merge? What does a front-end developer even look like in that world? Let's discuss in our final part.
And we're back, ready to wrap up our whirlwind tour of the future of front-end development.
Absolutely. I feel like we've covered a year's worth of trends in just a few episodes.
It's been a lot, right? But seriously, for all you mid-level and senior devs out there, this stuff is gold. It's not just about knowing the latest JavaScript framework. It's about seeing the big picture, how all these pieces fit together.
You got it. It's about leveling up, becoming more than just coders.
Exactly. We're becoming like, I don't know, digital architects.
Architects, designers, strategists, maybe even a bit of futurists thrown in there. Seriously. It's exciting, but it also means we need to be adaptable, always learning. So let's get back to that big question we left you with. With all these advancements, are we seeing the lines between front-end and back-end disappearing?
It's a question a lot of us are asking. As we build more decoupled systems, those APIs become the bridge between the front and the back.
Yeah.
So front-end devs need to really understand how to work with APIs, how to manage the data that flows through them, even think about security and performance on a whole new level.
It's like we're becoming full-stack developers, whether we plan to or not.
In a way, yeah, we need to understand how the whole system hangs together.
Right. And with things like serverless computing and edge functions becoming more popular, that line between front-end and back-end is only going to get blurrier.
Absolutely. We might even see entirely new roles popping up, blending the traditional front-end and back-end responsibilities.
That's a whole other deep dive right there. But for now, I think the takeaway is that the future is full of possibilities,
It is.
both exciting and maybe a little daunting.
Maybe, but that's what makes it fun, right? The challenge of learning and adapting and pushing the boundaries.
Absolutely. And on that note, a huge thank you to everyone who's joined us on this journey into the future of front-end.
We hope you've learned a ton and are feeling inspired to tackle whatever comes next.
But before we sign off, one last favor. Yeah. If you enjoyed this deep dive, head over to the Pragmatic Reviews YouTube channel.
Yeah, hit that subscribe button, join the community, let's keep this conversation going.
And while you're there, smash that like button and leave a comment telling us what resonated with you the most. Your feedback is super valuable to us.
We love hearing from you. So until next time, keep coding, keep learning, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible in the world of front-end development.